I love running synthetic rope on my winch, but they do have one distinct downside, and that is that they're not really good at abrasion resistance. And so it's quite feasible that a cable could break out there on the tracks. So the good thing about them though, they're easy to repair. So how do you fix it? Well, it's really quite easy. So I'm going to show you in this video. Here at MadMatt 4Drive, I'm all about educating and building the four-wheel drive community so we can wheel well, and I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe button and then hit the bell so you can get those notifications as well. So I've recently done a video where I show you how to join a factor 55 splicer onto my winch rope using a deep bury splice. And if you want to see that video, well, that'll be linked above. But obviously in this video, we're going to go through the process of joining two winch ropes together. So I've got this rope here, which I often use as a winch extension rope, and I'm just going to join it into my winch rope off the Land Cruiser for the sake of this demonstration. The beauty of these sort of procedures is that it is so easy to remove it afterwards. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do with any winch rope that you're going to join or do a splice to is you've got to taper the end of the winch rope down like I've done here. So I'm going to show you how to do that on this rope here. So you're going to need a couple of tools. You're going to need a very sharp knife. You're going to need some electrical tape. A pen is helpful, and I'm going to be using the Factor 55 Fast Fit because it just makes the job easier. This is not essential, but it does help. Okay, so what we're going to do in the first instance, take the pen and you're going to come up the winch rope an amount. Let's just come up around about 70 millimeters, and then choose 2 sets of braids. And I'm choosing those 2. Depending on the way your winch rope's designed, this can look different. So you can see the difference between my vehicle's winch rope and this one. This is a braid, this is a braid, I'm treating those 2 there as a braid and these 2 as a braid. So now that we've got those 2 marked, skip 2 and mark 2. Skip 2 and mark 2. So now we've got those marks on there, what we're going to do is pull these braids out of the rope. So being this is sort of this multi-strand, it can be a little bit harder, but you'll get the idea. All we're wanting to do is reduce the amount of rope at the end of the rope. So you'll see what I mean by that in a sec. So pull those out, and we're going to cut some of this away. Okay, so you see now we've got this much less down here, and we'll just get these last 2 out. Now the guys at Roadrunner Off-Road here in Australia, they did some testing on a load cell with rope, and they found if you just do a blunt end, so you don't do this process, you reduce the capacity of the rope by about 16%, so quite a massive amount. Okay, so now we've got that sort of busted up like that. So what I'm saying in that is it's really important you do this step. Now we just want to cut these off. Just come out from the braid there and just cut them off. Now, I find that the knife's the best I've got, barring a grinder, and this stuff is really hard to cut. And this is a brand new blade, I might have you know. Anyway, you get the job done, and that's the goal of it. So there you go. Okay, so that's the next lot. Okay, and where's my marks gone? All right, doesn't really matter. Oh, there it is. So we just, again, it's just about cutting the weight down and making it a tapered end, so there's no sort of sudden drop off in rope diameter. So it's, as long as you're achieving that, life is good. Okay, righty-ho. So there you go. So we've reduced that down. That gives us a nice taper. Now what we want to do with both our ends of rope, we're going to just tape them up. And the reason for this is just to keep control of all the daggy bits whilst we do the next procedures and actually do the splice. We'll take this tape off at the end. That's that one, and then we do this one. Now you can do this berry without taping it. It's just going to be a bit harder. I don't think you'd be able to do this job without a good sharp knife though. You could do it without the pen, just be a little bit harder. Okay, so now we'll grab the fid. Okay, so now what we need to do is mark out where we're actually, a length of how far we're going to be doing this berry. Now, on these fast fids, they have all of their dimensions on here, and depending on the rope size as to how far you're going to need to do the deep berry, which I'm going to show you in a second. If you work on a dimension of 700 millimeters or about 27 inches, you're going to cover off all the common sizes of ropes that you're going to cover off. At the end of the day, you can't do too much of a berry. It's not going to hurt it. Some people say they don't even bury this amount and they don't have an issue, and I think that's probably fair too. So I just go with the recommendations for obvious reasons. So if I just work on 4 of these fid lengths, that's a pretty good way to go. That gives me 28 inches of berry. So we come to there, get my marking pen, mark my rope. Take that and do the same on this rope. Okay, so now each rope's got a nice mark on it, so I know that is going to allow my ropes to be buried into each other once I'm done that amount. Okay, so that's going to be their transfer dimension, I suppose. Is that a way to say it? Transfer dimension or whatever. Anyway, now what I got to do is actually start joining the rope. So you get your fid, put the basket over the rope like that. Okay, make that, get the basket down nice and firm on there. Okay, and then just put this through the center at that line like this, and bring that all the way through to your other mark. Okay, so bring your lines together. See that? There's that line, there's that line. Got them both together at that point. Then take this blue rope and bring it, go 2 braids down, thereabouts, and just go back through the center of, back through the center there of the rope. Try not to go through the center of the braids, okay, through the actual, you know, like, what I mean by that is don't go through this part in here, you know, don't go through that. Just go through like I've done there, okay? Now pull that through. Now this blue rope that we're working with at the moment is going for the deep berry. So we need to take this down. We've got to bring the fid out down here somewhere. So again, grab your pen, just measure that out. I'm just going to put a mark here. Okay, this is what I'm going to do now, is the deep berry, where I'm going to put this into the center of that rope. So again, two braids down, and then take your fid and put it into the center of the rope. Okay, as you push this together, you'll find it finds a center. You'll just feel it. It goes in there, and you just, oh, comes out the side. It's not feeling quite right. You'll find the older ropes, it's never quite as easy. The newer rope, it always seems to handle easier. So I've been playing with this rope for a little while, and yeah, each time it's just a little bit harder to work with, whereas this blue rope, it seems to be behaving really nice. So, and it's a lot newer. Okay, so there we go. So now I just want to come out the side because we've got to our mark there. Okay, so bring this up. You can just milk that down and along. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there she is. So we've cut that tape off there and we'll just get it off the rope. There's no need for that to be up inside. So now we're going to just pull this down and see how that buries itself up in there. Okay, so that's the blue section of the rope. It's in place. Now you could recover off that, but obviously it doesn't look quite right. So now we're going to repeat the process by burying this one up into here. So now we've got the fit on there. We're just going to mark where we've got to come out. So again, go past the length of the fid. Put a nice clear mark on there so you can see. All right, now we're just going to go for that deep bury. So come down about 2 braids or thereabouts. Now, this rope's moved a little bit, but that doesn't matter. We've got plenty of capacity. So just open that weave up a bit and take the fid and put it into the middle there and just start feeding that down along the rope. Just milk that braid up. Okay, where's my mark? There's my mark. So I've got to come out down below that. There's the mark there. So I want to come out below that. Okay, now we're getting there. There we go. So now you can take your basket off. Grab that knife. Cut that tape off. Okay, and now we'll just milk this back into it itself. And there we go. We've now got our winch ropes joined together in such a way that when we put load on this, these strands are all going to clamp down and pull down onto the rope and all of that. Probably the only comment I'd make about this, I'd probably like to do that again and close that up. That's a bit unnecessary there. But aside from that, that's how easy it is. Now, I've been using some of the Factor 55 gear. If you'd like the content that I create here at MadMatt Four Drive, you can go to the Australian website A247 and you're able to purchase Factor 55 gear or any of the gear off their store. And if you use the code MadMatt, you get $20 off, but I also get a bit of a kickback and that helps support the channel. I'm MadMatt, stay safe on the trail.